At the end of the War of Spanish Succession, Britain and Spain came to a trading agreement called Inocencio in the Treaty of Utrecht, which permitted British ships to trade with the Spanish colonies. As a result of the Anglo-Spanish War in the late 1720s, Britain allowed Spain to check British ships to make sure the terms of their agreement were respected. Unfortunately, the Spanish took this too far. The Spanish began to board British ships to seize them, torture, and hold British ship crews. Therefore, Britain began to develop anti-Spanish sentiment. One particular instance exemplifies Spanish and English tension and gave this conflict its name. The British captain Robert Jenkins raided Spanish ships with his crew in retaliation for Spanish authorities seizing English ships. In 1731, Spanish privateer Julio Fernando of the La Isabela boarded Jenkins' ship, the Rebecca, and sought out Robert Jenkins for his raids. The privateer cut off Jenkins' ear. In outrage, Jenkins returned to England and showed Parliament his severed ear. The Parliament and English people's dislike for Spain grew. The Inocencio was suspended, and English General Walpole sent more troops to Gibraltar. However, the British and Spanish did not wish for war. They tried to come to a peaceful agreement by meeting at the Convention of Pardo in early 1739. Unfortunately, the terms which allowed Spain to continue searching English ships and remove British ships from Spanish waters angered the British public. As a result, war broke out later that year. Much of the first year of the war included small naval battles around Florida. British General James Oglethorpe led attacks into Florida through Fort Picolata, Fort San Francisco de Pupu, and Fort St. Augustine, with the first two forts becoming British and the last a failure. The English secured Georgia when they sent Spanish troops back into Florida through the Battle of the Bloody March. Additionally, one of the most significant battles not on American soil was the Battle of Portobello in the Panama. This battle was won by the British and destroyed the economy of the Portobello. Spain was forced to restructure its trade from a few large ports to many small ports to avoid future economic damage similar to the heavy hit from losing the Portobello. Another major offensive of the British was the attempt to take Cartagena. Despite British assembling the largest naval fleet ever at the time, complete with 186 ships and 27,000 men, Britain failed to secure Cartagena. The British lost 6,000 men, whereas the Spanish lost only 1,000. The British supplies ran low and yellow fever spread, so the offensive at Cartagena was stopped. After this, the war became less kinetic, as the War of Austrian Succession redirects the attention of Spain and England. Prior to the War of Austrian Succession, Britain was successful in attaining Georgia and blockading the Spanish Florida. For a first-person account of the war, I have with me General James Oglethorpe of Georgia. General, tell me a little bit about yourself.
I was born on December 22nd, 1696 in England, and later moved to Georgia under Prince Eugene of Savoy. I attended Oxford and served in several legislative bodies in Georgia's colonial government.
So what was your main goal during the war?
I launched the attack on Spanish Florida to seize their fort at St. Augustine. My knowledge of the interior of America from my time in Georgia, coupled with the support from the Royal Navy, seemed to pose a serious threat to Spain Florida.
What issues did you and your men face during the war?
At the Battle of Gully Hole Creek, the Indians who had previously helped in settling agreements in South Carolina turned on me in favor of the Spanish. As a result, my men lost this battle, but we were able to overcome this defeat in the Battle of the Bloody March.
What does your future look like?
My position of power was taken by William Stevens, so I will return to England. It will not be easy, as my losses during the war tarnished my reputation. It is time now, however, to focus on the War of Austrian Succession.
Ah, yes, the War of Austrian Succession. It removed the importance of the war in Jenkins' ear and many historians' eyes. However, as it is a cause of the War of Austrian Succession, this war remains an important piece of European, American, and world history. Thank you, General, for your time.
Thank you.
The issue of the War of Jenkins' Ear were finally resolved with the resolution of the War of Austrian Succession and the Treaty of Aix-la-Chapelle. British trade with the Spanish was allowed to continue without the Inocencio by 1750. Following negotiations, Britain and Spain made efforts to maintain peace. The Duke of Newcastle wanted to keep Spain as an ally, and Spanish ambassadors were appointed based off of who was on good terms with the English ambassadors. Inevitably, more conflicts will break out between the Spanish and English after the War of Jenkins' Ear, but its effects on European trade should be noted, and this small war shall not be forgotten.